The rain-slicked streets of Seattle gleamed under the sodium lamps as Camden Hayes stepped out of the elevator, his heart pounding like a glitch in the server room he had just left behind. A single text from the CEO's private number burned in his pocket. Jim. Now. Don't be late. Princess. He crumpled the note in his fist, the word slicing deeper than any code error. But he went anyway, because in this city of glass towers and hidden fractures, survival meant swallowing the barbs until they turned to fuel. Camden wiped the sweat from his brow with the back of his hand, the metallic tang of exertion mixing with the faint scent of eucalyptus from the gym's diffusers. The corporate fitness center on the 42nd floor of Apex Dynamics headquarters was a sanctuary for the elite, mirrored walls reflecting endless iterations of ambition. Treadmills humming like the data streams that powered the company's AI empire. At 26, Camden was the youngest trainee in the software engineering program, a fresh transplant from the dusty plains of Eastern Oregon, where dreams were as sparse as the evergreens. He had clawed his way into this world on scholarships and sheer grit, his resume a patchwork of late-night coding marathons and community college triumphs. But here, in the shadow of titans, he was just the kid with the rainbow pin on his lanyard, the one who turned heads not for his algorithms, but for the way he carried himself, open, unapologetic, a quiet rebellion in a sea of starched collars. Elias Grant, the CEO, strode in like he owned the oxygen in the room, which, in a way, he did. At 42, Elias was the architect of Apex, a self-made force who had bootstrapped the firm from a garage in Capitol Hill to a Fortune 500 behemoth specializing in predictive analytics for Fortune 500 clients. Tall and broad-shouldered, with salt and pepper hair cropped close and eyes like polished obsidian, he moved with the predatory grace of a man who had never known defeat. His workout gear was minimalist, black compression shorts and a fitted tank that clung to the ridges of his chest, earned from years of Ironman triathlons and boardroom battles. Elias didn't just lead Apex, he embodied it, relentless, innovative, unforgiving. Hey's Elias Bart, not looking up from his phone as he dropped his duffel by the free weights. You're late. Again, it was 6:15 a.m., 15 minutes after their scheduled session. But Camden had been debugging a neural network glitch since dawn. He opened his mouth to explain, but Elias cut him off with a smirk that didn't reach his eyes. Save it. Drop and give me 20. Let's see if those pretty arms can handle more than typing manifestos on social media. The mockery landed like a poorly optimized loop, repeating in Camden's mind as he hit the mat. Elias had insisted on these private workouts 6 months ago, framing it as mentorship for the star trainee. Camden had bought it at first, the chance to learn from the legend himself, to absorb the strategies that turned startups into empires. But the barbs came early and often, laced with a venom that tasted like homophobia wrapped in locker room bravado. Keep your hips tucked. Hayes. Wouldn't want you prancing through the squat rack. Or, during cool-down stretches, breathe deep, like you're whispering secrets to your boyfriend. The other execs chuckled along when they overheard, but Elias saved the sharpest for these dawn duels, when the building was still asleep and the city below stirred in gray half-light. Camden powered through the push-ups, his biceps burning, green eyes fixed on the rain-streaked window. Seattle's skyline blurred into a watercolor of fog and fairies, the Space Needle a distant needle prick against the clouds. He thought of his mom back in Bend, her voice crackling over FaceTime You're building something real. Cam, don't let the wolves chew you up. She had raised him alone after his dad bailed, teaching him to code on an old Dell while flipping burgers at a diner off Highway 97. That resilience was his armor, but Elias's words chipped at it, exposing the boy who had come out at 16 to a high school that responded with whispers and lockers slammed in his face. By the time Camden rose, Elias was already loading the barbell, plates clanging like accusations. "Spot me," Elias said, settling under the weight. Camden positioned himself behind, hand hovering, ready to catch if the lift faltered. Elias descended into the squat, thighs straining, a grunt escaping his lips that sounded almost human, vulnerable, even. For a split second, their eyes met in the mirror, Camden steady, searching, Elias's fierce, unreadable. Then the CEO exploded upward, the bar rattling as he racked it. "Not bad, princess. But next time, put some fire in it. Or are you saving that for the clubs downtown?" Camden's jaw tightened. You want a snapback, to call out the hypocrisy of a man who preached diversity in earnings calls while wielding slurs like dumbbells. But ambition was a leash. An apex was his ticket to stability, a salary that could send money home, a path to visas for his queer friends still scraping by in rural hideouts. So he swallowed it, channeling the rage into his own set. As he squatted, the burn in his quads mirrored the ache in his chest, a reminder that power here wasn't just code, it was endurance. The session dragged on, a brutal symphony of reps and rests, punctuated by Elias's jabs. Eyes on the prize. Haze. Not on my ass. Laughter, forced from Camden's throat, echoed hollowly. By cool down, the gym felt smaller, the air thicker with unspoken tensions. Elias towel-dried his neck, glancing at Camden with something that might have been appraisal or disdain. "You're good with numbers, kid. But this," he gestured to the weights, "this builds character. Keeps you from going soft." The word hung, loaded, and Camden felt it burrowed deep. As they packed up, Elias's phone buzzed incessantly, board updates, investor pings. He silenced it with a swipe, turning to Camden. "Friday's pitch to Vanguard. You're presenting the demo. Don't fuck it up." It was a lifeline tossed like a grenade. High stakes for the trainee who had spent nights perfecting the AI model. Camden nodded, pulse quickening. "I won't, sir." Elias paused at the door, rain pattering against the glass like impatient fingers. "Call me Elias outside these walls. And Hayes, keep showing up. You've got potential if you toughen up." The elevator dinged, swallowing him whole, leaving Camden alone with the ghosts of exertion and the faint, inexplicable pull toward the man who wielded cruelty like a second language. Back at his desk in the open-plan bullpen, Camden collapsed into his chair, the city awakening beyond the floor-to-ceiling windows. Colleagues trickled in, Jada from marketing, with her flawless braids and endless coffee runs. Marcus, the grizzled VP of sales, barking orders into his headset. Apex thrummed with purpose, coders hunched over laptops, screens flickering with data visualizations that predicted market shifts down to the decimal. Camden Station overlooked Elliott Bay, where ferries cut white wakes through the mist, a reminder of escapes he couldn't yet afford. He pulled up the demo script, fingers flying across the keys, but his mind replayed the gym, the heat of bodies in proximity, the edge in Elias's voice that blurred between taunt and tease. Was it hate? Or something uglier? Fear? Camden had read the profiles. Elias Grant. Divorced twice. No kids. A string of high-profile flings with models and executives. All straight-laced and spotlight-ready. The man was a fortress. Impervious. Yet in those mirrored glances, Camden sensed cracks. Lunch was a solitary falafel wrap from the food truck downstairs, eaten at his desk while scrolling Grindr out of habit. Matches pinged, baristas with easy smiles. Artists with inked arms, but none stuck. Seattle's queer scene was vibrant. From Capitol Hill's rainbow crosswalk streets to pride floats snaking through Pioneer Square. But Camden's heart was tangled in work, in proving he belonged. A notification jolted him, an invite to the company happy hour at Pike Place, thrown by Elias himself. Team building, the email read. Camden's stomach twisted. Team building, or another round of veiled digs. The afternoon blurred into code reviews and stand-ups. Jada leaning over his shoulder with a grin. Girl, you slayed that algorithm last week. Elias noticed, kept staring during the all-hands. Her words warmed him, a balm against the morning's chill. Jada was an ally, out and proud. Her wedding to her wife last summer, a highlight reel on the company Slack. He's testing you. Cam. Climb that ladder. Don't let him knock you off. By evening, the office emptied, leaving Camden to the hum of servers and the distant call of gulls. He lingered, tweaking the demo, until the cleaning crew's vacuums chased him out. The bus ride home to his cramped studio in Fremont was a meditation in motion, past the troll sculpture under the bridge. The glow of breweries spilling laughter into the night. His apartment was a nest of thrift store finds, a vintage typewriter on the windowsill, posters of indie films peeling at the edges, a pride flag draped over the bed like a promise. Showered and in sweats, Camden poured a glass of cheap Merlot and sank onto the couch, laptop balanced on his knees. He searched Elias's name out of masochistic curiosity, articles on his TED Talks, profiles praising his unyielding vision. One buried piece from a tech blog caught his eye, Grant's Garage Days, the lone wolf who built an empire. No mention of family. No soft edges. Just a man forged in solitude. The wine loosened the knots, and Camden texted his best friend, Riley, back in Oregon. Gym with the boss today. Same old bullshit. Riley's reply buzzed instant. Dump his ass from your life. You're too good for that toxicity. But it wasn't that simple. Elias wasn't just a bully. He was the gatekeeper, the one who could launch Camden into senior engineer by year's end or bury him. Sleep came fitful, dreams laced with weights and whispers. Elias's face morphing from scorn to something tender. Impossible. Dawn broke gray, the alarm a harsh recall to reality. Another workout loomed, another barb. But as Camden laced his sneakers, a spark ignited. He would endure, not for Elias, but for the boy from Bend who dared to dream in binary. The elevator ascended, stomach in free fall. Elias was already there, mid-burpee, sweat beading on his temples. Morning, sunshine, ready to sweat out the glitter. The cycle spun on, but today, Camden met the jab with silence, his resolve hardening like code compiling flawless. Weeks blurred into a rhythm of reps and ridicule. The gym, their private coliseum. Elias pushed harder each session, deadlifts that tested limits. Sprints that left lungs screaming, his taunts evolving. Sharpening. Faster. Haze. Or do fairies fly instead of run? Camden's retorts stayed locked. But inside, a storm brewed, anger at the injustice, curiosity at the why. Why him? Why these mornings? When Elias could train with any of the buff execs. The Vanguard pitch arrived like a thunderclap. Camden stood at the head of the boardroom, projector humming, 40 suits eyeing him like code to debug. Elias lounged at the table's end, arms crossed, expression inscrutable. Camden launched in, voice steady, demo unfolding seamless. AI simulations predicting stock fluxes with 98% accuracy. Questions flew, technical, probing, but he fielded them. Diagrams crisp, analogies landing like punches. As the room applauded, Elias rose, clapping slow, deliberate, impressive. Haze. You might just make it in this man's world. The word man lingered. A challenge. Later, in the elevator alone with Camden, Elias added, "Lo, good work. Keep it up and keep those workouts tight. Can't have the team thinking you're slacking." Camden's chest tightened, a mix of triumph and bile. Appreciate it, Elias. The doors parted, and he stepped into the fray. The city pulsing below, alive with possibility. But deep down, he knew this was no mentorship. It was a mirror, reflecting shadows neither dared name. The happy hour at Pike Place Market unfolded under a canopy of market lights. The air thick with the briny kiss of the sound and the sizzle of fish from street vendors. Apex had rented out a sprawling brewery overlooking the water. Wooden beams groaning under strings of Edison bulbs. Craft IPAs flowing like venture capital. Camden arrived fashionably late. Jada's arm linked in his, her laughter a shield against the crowd's murmur. She wore a crimson dress that hugged her curves, earrings dangling like punctuation to her stories. "Look at you, Demo King," she teased, clinking her glass to his. Elias couldn't take his eyes off you up there. Camden sipped his hazy IPA, the bitterness grounding him amid the swirl of power suits shedding ties like snakeskins. The room buzzed, Marcus regaling investors with tall tales of closed deals. Interns snapping selfies by the mural of flying fish. Seattle's undercurrent thrummed here. Tech bros in flannel debating blockchain. Queer couples weaving through with linked hands. The city's progressive pulse beating defiant against the rain. Elias held court by the bar, a circle of admirers orbiting his charisma. He spotted Camden, raising his glass in mock toast. "Haze, get over here. Tell these vultures how you tamed the beast." The group parted, eyes curious, and Camden wove through, pulse sinking to the bass line of indie folk from the speakers. Up close, Elias smelled of cedar cologne and hops, his shirt unbuttoned at the collar, revealing a sliver of tan chest. "I just ran the numbers." "Sir," Camden said, sliding into the banter. The beast was already collared. Laughter rippled, genuine this time, and Elias's eyes crinkled at the corners, a rare thaw. They talked shop, neural nets, ethical AI dilemmas, the gig economy's underbelly. Elias leaned in, voice dropping. "You surprised me today. That poise, it's not just code. You got spine." The compliment landed soft, disarming, and Camden felt the room tilt. Was this the same man who dubbed him Princess at dawn? They drifted to a quieter corner, overlooking the ferries chugging toward Bainbridge, their wakes silver trails in the dusk. Elias ordered shots, mezcal, smoky and sharp, and they toasted to disruptions, the word heavy with layers. To shaking things up, Elias said, his gaze lingering, dark and uncharted. The alcohol loosened tongues, and stories spilled, Camden's organ roots. The winter his mom lost her job, and they lived on ramen and resolve, Elias's early days. Coding in a dim basement while his engineer father dismissed it as fool's play. He wanted me in suits. Not startups, Elias admitted, swirling his glass. Said dreaming big was for suckers. Vulnerability flickered, then vanished behind a grin. But look at us now. Kings of the castle. Camden nodded, the mezcal warming his veins. Some castles have moats. Keeps the wrong ones out. Elias's laugh was low, rumbling. Careful. Hayes. Moats can drown the builder too. Their knees brushed under the high-top table. Accidental. Electric. Camden pulled back, heart hammering, blaming the buzz. As the night deepened, the crowd thinned. Jada dragging Camden to the dance floor for a spin to synth-pop remixes. She whispered, "He's watching you." Like, really watching. Camden glanced back, Elias by the railing. Profile etched against the city lights. Expression unreadable. A text pinged, "Don't get too wasted." 6 a.m. Sharp. The princess jab was absent, replaced by something almost concerned. The walk home was a haze of rain and revelation. Fremont streets alive with night joggers and food trucks hawking pho. Camden's mind replayed the evening, the thaw in Elias's voice, the brush of skin that lingered like code residue. In bed, staring at the ceiling fan's lazy spin, he wondered, was it flirtation, or just the booze talking? Sleep claimed him with dreams of mirrors and markets, weights lifting into wings. Monday's workout shattered the fragile peace. Elias was feral, pushing Camden through circuits with renewed ferocity, box jumps that jarred knees, planks that quivered cores. "Come on. Hayes, is all you've got?" Thought the weekend lit a fire under you. The taunts returned, barbed and familiar, but now laced with an undercurrent Camden couldn't parse, frustration. Perhaps at his own slip. Mid-session, as Camden deadlifted, form locked, Elias circled like a coach, hands adjusting his grip. Fingers grazed wrists, steadying, and time stuttered. "Grip tighter," Elias murmured, breath warm on Camden's neck. "Control it, or controls you." The words echoed beyond the lift, into territories unspoken. Camden racked the bar, chest heaving, meeting Elias's eyes. Sometimes control's overrated. Elias blinked, then barked a laugh. Philosophy from the trainee? Stick to bits and bytes. But the air hummed, charged, as they cooled down on yoga mats. Stretches pulling taut, like unresolved tensions. Elias's foot nudged Camden's during child's pose, lingering a beat too long. Accident? Test. Camden's pulse raced. A glitch in the system. The week escalated. Back-to-back meetings where Elias praised Camden's inputs publicly. Hayes nails it again, only to undercut in private. "Don't let it go to your head, kid." Ego's the real virus. Camden's confusion festered, blooming into late-night journals scrawled in a battered notebook. Is he grooming me for success or sabotage? And why does the knife twist with want? Jada noticed the shadows under his eyes during a coffee run to the Violet Hour Cafe. Its mismatched mugs steaming with lattes. Spill. Cam. You're fraying like bad Ethernet. Over avocado toast. He confessed the duality, the mockery, the moments of near-kindness. Jada's brow furrowed. Sounds like projection. Man's got demons. But you? Don't let him dim your light. Her words anchored him through the next pitch. A client dinner at Camless. The restaurant's perch above the lake, a glittering eyrie. Elias insisted Camden join, to learn the art of the close, over seared scallops and Cabernet. Deals sealed with handshakes and winks. Elias dominated. Charisma a weapon, but deferred to Camden on tech specs. His not a silent impressed them. Later, in the valet line, rain sheeting the windows, Elias clapped Camden's shoulder. You held your own. Proud of you. The touch burned. Paternal, or something perilously more. That night, alone in his studio, Camden paced. The city's hum a distant roar. He opened Grindr again, swiping past profiles, but his thumb hovered over Elias's imagined face. Forbidden. Foolish. Instead, he coded a personal project, an app for queer youth in rural pockets, mapping safe spaces and resources. Lines flowed, a digital haven, until exhaustion pulled him under. The breaking point brewed slowly, a compile error in human form. 2 months in, during a grueling hit session, Elias's taunt crossed the line. As Camden lunged, sweat-stinging eyes, Elias sneered. Move like you mean it. Haze. Or save the drama for your drag shows. The room spun, rage surging. Camden dropped the weights, clanging loud. Fuck you, Elias. I'm here to work, not take your shit. Silence crashed, thick as Puget fog. Elias's face hardened, then cracked, surprise. Then something raw, unguarded. Watch your mouth. Trainee. I could end you with a word, but he didn't fire, didn't report. Instead, he stormed out, leaving Camden adrift in echoes. The fallout rippled, awkward silences in meetings. Elias's eyes avoiding his. Camden buried in work. Output stellar, but the spark dimmed. Whispers circulated. Heard Hayes mouthed off to Grant, but Jada quashed them. Fierce as family. Let them talk. You're gold. A week later, Elias cornered him in the server room. Fluorescence buzzing like nerves. That's done in the gym? Unprofessional. Cam embraced. But Elias continued. Voice low. But fair. I've been hard on you. Harder than others. A pause. Heavy. Reasons. Personal. The admission hung. A door ajar. Camden's heart thudded. Then why? Elias looked away, jaw working. Because you remind me of someone I couldn't save. Myself. Maybe. The confession fractured the air. Vulnerability bleeding through. Before Camden could press, Elias fled, the door hissing shut. That night, rain lashed Camden's window like accusations. He called Riley, voice cracking over the line. He's breaking me open. And I don't know if it's to build or bury. Riley's sigh carried across miles. Trust your gut. Cam. But remember, you're the architect here. The next workout was a truce. Tentative. Elias arrived subdued. No barbs. Just guidance. Form checks gentle. Encouragement sparse, but sincere. Good lift. Steady. Proximity crackled. Unspoken. As they rapped, Elias lingered. Dinner? My treat. Neutral ground. Camden hesitated, then nodded. Yeah. Let's talk. The restaurant was tucked in Belltown. Dim lanterns casting pools of amber over exposed brick. Over steak and stories. Walls crumbled. Elias spoke of his first marriage. A college sweetheart who fled his ambition, the second. A merger of convenience that imploded in custody-less ashes. I built walls. Haze. High ones. Safer that way. Camden shared fragments, coming out to his mom's quiet tears. The first boyfriend's betrayal in a Eugene dorm. Love's a risk. But hiding? That's death. Elias's eyes softened, reflecting the candle flame. Maybe you're right. Their hands brushed, passing the wine, neither pulling away. The touch lingered. A question. Back home, Camden's journal filled. Tonight, the moat drained. What's on the other side? The thaw accelerated. Workouts morphing into partnerships. Elias sharing war stories mid-set. Camden cracking jokes that drew real laughs. Tension simmered. Electric. In stolen glances. Accidental grazes. One morning, post-run, Elias wiped Camden's brow with his thumb. Gesture intimate. You're glowing? Kid. Camden's breath caught. Call me Camden. Elias smiled. Slow. Camden, the name on his lips was revelation. But shadows loomed. Bored whispers of Elias's burnout. Rumors of a rival bid. Camden buried deeper. Loyalty fierce. But doubt crept. Was this connection real? Or Elias's escape hatch? A late-night debug session sealed it. Elias appeared at Camden's desk at midnight. Takeout in hand. Fuel for the fire. They worked side by side. Shoulders touching. Code flowing. As dawn pinked the sky, Elias turned. Thank you. For seeing me. Camden met his gaze. Always have. Lips hovered. Then parted a kiss. Tentative. Tasting of coffee and courage. The world narrowed to that point. Seattle fading to fog. They pulled apart. Breathless. This complicates, Elias murmured. Everything worth it does, Camden replied. In that moment, empires felt small, hearts vast. The kiss lingered like a cache file, replaying in Camden's mind through the relentless churn of Apex's corridors. Mornings now carried a secret charge, the gym not a battlefield but a confessional, where sweat-slick confessions wove into stretches and sprints. Elias's touches evolved, a hand on the small of Camden's back during warm-ups, fingers tracing the line of his spine with feigned casualness. Breathe into it, Elias would say, voice husky, eyes locking in the mirror with an intensity that made Camden's core clench. Their dinners multiplied. Stolen evenings at hole-in-the-wall spots from Queen and to Ballard, dim sum in steamy carts. Ramen bowls slurped over shared silences. Elias opened like a long-locked drive, tales of his closeted youth in a conservative Spokane suburb, where football fields masked fumbling explorations in truck beds, ended by a father's belt and a mother's averted eyes. I learned to bury it deep, he admitted one night over whiskey at a speakeasy, the jazz trio's sax wailing like unspoken grief. Built the company on that denial. Power as armor. Camden listened, heart aching for the boy Elias had been. fingers interlacing under the table, a lifeline across scarred terrain. "You're not buried anymore," he whispered, thumb stroking knuckles rough from weights and keyboards. Elias's smile was tentative, a crack in granite. "With you? Maybe not, but the world outside their bubble pressed in, insistent as Seattle's drizzle. Work intensified. A merger with a Bay Area startup loomed. Deadlines stacking like server racks. Camden thrived under the pressure, his innovations streamlining the integration code, earning nods from the C-suite. Jada cornered him in the break room one afternoon, her latte steaming like suspicion. "You and Grant? The vibes are." Loud. Camden flushed, but she grinned, pulling him into a hug. "I'm happy for you. Boo. Just guard that heart." Men like him, they build fast, burn hotter. Her warning echoed during a weekend escape to Elias's cabin on Whidbey Island, a ferry ride away where pines whispered secrets to the Salish Sea. The place was rustic revelation, stone fireplace crackling, bookshelves groaning with dog-eared sci-fi and management tomes, a deck overlooking waves that crash like catharsis. They arrived at dusk, Camden's duffel light beside Elias's packed with intention, fresh salmon for grilling, a bottle of Pinot from Walla Walla. Clothes shed with the ferry's horn still echoing. They tumbled into flannel sheets, bodies mapping new algorithms of touch. Elias was reverent, hands exploring Camden's lithe frame with a hunger tempered by awe, kisses trailing from collarbone to hip, breaths mingling in gasps that drowned the tide. "Beautiful," Elias murmured against skin, voice breaking on the edge of prayer. Camden arched, fingers threading salt and pepper hair, whispering, "Yours." It was surrender, seismic, the first true merge of their worlds. Dawn found them tangled, coffee brewing as Elias fried eggs on the stove, Camden leaning against the counter in boxers, watching domesticity unfold. They hiked the island's trails later, boots crunching mossy paths, hands swinging linked. Elias paused at a bluff, wind whipping his shirt. "Never brought anyone here." Fell to. Exposed. Camden squeezed his hand. Exposure's where the light gets in. Back at Apex, the idol fractured. The merger hit snags, regulatory hurdles, leaked emails hinting at sabotage from within. Elias grew distant, huddling with lawyers. His text curt, late night. Rain check. Workouts resumed their edge. Taunts absent, but tension taut. Like overclocked circuits. Camden sensed the pullback, a firewall rising, and confronted him in the gym's steam room, fog curling like doubts. "What's going on?" Camden asked, towel low on hips, vulnerability bare. Elias averted eyes, steam beating on his chest. Pressure's mounting. Boards sniffing around. Old skeletons. Camden pressed closer. Water droplets tracing paths down his torso. "We're in this. Together." Elias's hand cupped his jaw, thumb brushing lip. "I know. But if it leaks us, it could tank everything." The kiss that followed was desperate. A dam against the flood. The leak came swift, vicious. An anonymous post on the company's internal forum, grainy photos from the island. Blurred but unmistakable, two men on a deck, embracing. CEO's distraction. Is Grant prioritizing play over profit? The thread exploded. Emojis of shock and scorn. Calls for HR intervention. Camden's stomach plummeted during his commute. the bus jolting over potholes like his pulse. Elias called an emergency all hands. Face ashen under the conference lights. Rumors are poison. Focus on the work. We'll weather this. But his eyes found Camden's in the crowd. A silent plea. Whispers followed Camden to his desk. That's him, right? The trainee. Jada shielded him. Fierce. But isolation crept in. Colleagues' glances like scans for malware. That night, Elias arrived at Camden's studio unannounced. Rain-soaked and shattered. They know. He collapsed onto the couch. Head in hands. Camden knelt. Arms encircling. We'll face it, but Elias pulled back. Eyes wild. You don't get it. I'm the face of this company, straight. Stable. Investors bolt at scandal. The word straight sliced. Old wounds reopening. Camden recoiled. So what? Hide again? After everything. Elias paced. Shadows dancing. It's not that simple. My exes, the board, they'll paint me as unstable. And you'll be collateral. Rage flared in Camden. Hot and righteous. Collateral? I'm your partner. Not a glitch to patch. The argument escalated. Voices rising over the patter of rain. Elias defending empire. Camden demanding truth. I came out at 18. Lost friends. But gained myself. You think I regret that? Elias stopped. Face crumpling. I envy you. That courage. But I can't, not yet. He left at midnight. Door clicking soft as betrayal. Days blurred into damage control. PR spins. Sensitivity trainings. Elias's distance a chasm. Workouts ceased. Replaced by solitary runs along the Burke-Gilman Trail, where bike paths wound through blackberry brambles. Thorns mirroring his thoughts. Camden poured into code. His rural youth app launching beta. Downloads trickling from queer forums. Messages of thanks like lifelines. This saved me tonight. Jada hosted an intervention over tacos at her queen and walk up. Her wife Lena dishing empathy with extra guac. He's scared. Cam. Doesn't make it right. Camden nodded. Tears hot. Feels like the mockery never stopped, just went internal. Lena hugged him. Healing's not linear. But you're whole. A board meeting leaked next. Elias proposing Camden for lead on the merger integration. A promotion veiled as merit. Gratitude warred with suspicion. Was it atonement? Or erasure? Camden accepted, throwing into the project with fervor. His team, Jada, a sharp coder named Theo, rallying around. Late nights in the war room. Whiteboard scrawled with flowcharts. Laughter cutting tension. Elias watched from afar. Pride flickering in stolen glances. One evening, post-presentation triumph. He pulled Camden aside in the parking garage. Concrete echoing footsteps. You were brilliant. Deserve this. Camden's voice cracked. Do I deserve you? Elias sighed. Forehead to Camden's. Working on it. Give me time. Time stretched. Taut. Camden dated casually. A barista named Finn. Sweet but shallow. Testing waters. Reminding himself of joy beyond Elias. But the pull persisted. A subroutine looping. The crisis peaked at the merger close. A gala at the Museum of Pop Culture. EMP's glowing orbs pulsing to electronica. Suits and gowns swirled. Toast to synergy. Elias cornered Camden by a Jimi Hendrix exhibit. Guitar strings humming phantom chords. Dance with me. off in a shadowed alcove. Bodies close. The world muffled. "I'm fighting for us," Elias whispered, lips brushing ear. Quietly, hope reignited. Fragile. But dawn brought the hammer, Elias's resignation letter. Circulated pre-dawn. Stepping back for personal growth. The office reeled. Stocks dipping. Tributes pouring. Camden's world tilted. Betrayal? Sacrifice? He confronted Elias at the cabin. Fairy churning turmoil. "You quit?" Without a word, Elias, packing boxes, turned weary. "Had to." The board was circling, threats to out us. "Tank your career." "This way." "About clean." "You rise." Camden's fists clenched. "You decide for me?" Again, tears came. Raw. "I loved you enough to fight." Elias crossed, cupping face. "Love you enough to let go." "The company's yours. Influence. If not title." "Board owes me." The revelation stunned. Elias had maneuvered proxies, positioning Camden as interim CTO, a legacy gift wrapped in abandonment. "Why not stay? Build together?" Elias's eyes glistened. "Too broken. Need to fix me first." They made love one last time. Desperate. Bodies claiming what words couldn't. Dawn ferry back. Camden alone on deck. Wind whipping tears. Seattle's spires mocking. Back at Apex. The transition was whirlwind. Press releases hailing fresh vision. Camden's first address steady. Voice carrying ghosts. Jada squeezed his hand post-meeting. "Proud of you." CTO. Title felt hollow. Victory Pyrrhic. Nights. Camden ran the trails. App download surging. User stories fueling fire. Elias's text sporadic, healing. "Miss you." Camden replied sparse. Boundaries firm. Months in. A call. Elias. Sober. In therapy. "Coming back?" "Not for the company, for us." Camden paused. Heart mending. "Earn it." The door ajar. Again. Camden's interim reign at Apex unfolded like a debug script. Efficient yet edged with unease. The glass office, once Elias's, now his. Overlooking the bay, where container ships lumbered like weary beasts. But the view mocked with emptiness. No banter over blueprints. No after-hours whiskey toasts. At 27, Camden was the youngest CTO in Apex history. His photo splashed across TechCrunch. Queer trailblazer takes helm amid turmoil. Pride swelled. Tempered by the article's subtext, Elias's mysterious exit, whispers of scandal scrubbed clean by NDAs. The board. A cabal of silver-haired venture vets from Sand Hill Road transplants. Treated him with cautious deference. "Fresh blood," murmured Victor Lang, the chairman. Over golf at Interbay. His swing slicing fairways like stock options. "But don't rock the boat too hard." "Son." Camden nodded, plotting integrations that wove the merger seamless. His team expanding. Theo promoted to lead dev. Jada heading product. A diverse crew reflecting Seattle's mosaic. Immigrants from Lagos. Non-binary coders from Portland. Workouts returned. Solo now. The gym a confessional of clanging iron and pounding hearts. Camden pushed limits. Deadlifting his body weight plussed out. Sweat purging the what-ifs. Elias's absence echoed in every rep. A phantom spotter. Text trickled. "Saw your keynote." "Killed it." Camden replied measured. "Thanks." "Focus here. Boundaries." Riley advised over video calls. Her farm in Oregon a backdrop of apple orchards. He's the ex-CEO of your heart. Treat him like beta code. Test. Don't commit. Dating beckoned. Tentative. Finn the barista evolved into dinners at Salumi. Cured meats and Kiani sparking laughs over shared playlists. Indie folk for Camden. Classic rock for Finn's tattooed arms. But intimacy stalled at kisses. Camden's mind drifting to cedar-scented skin. Obsidian eyes. You're elsewhere, Finn said gently one night. Freckles crinkling. Go find your story. They parted friends. A clean fork in the road. The app, Queer Map. His rural lifeline exploded. Venture interest pinging from Y Combinato alums. Camden pitched at a Capitol Hill accelerator. Room packed with wide-eyed founders. His slides mapping safe houses from Montana Badlands to Vermont hamlets. This isn't code, he said. Voice steady. It's survival. Funding flowed. A seed round that bankrolled expansions. Chat features. Crisis hotlines. User messages poured. A teen from Idaho. Your app got me to a shelter. Thank you. Humanistic ripples. Healing his fractures. Elias resurfaced at an industry gala in San Francisco. The Moscone Center, a hive of schmoozers under chandeliers like data clusters. Camden arrived with Jada, tailored in midnight blue. Rainbow cufflinks glinting defiance. The crowd parted for him, CTO haze, but his breath caught at Elias across the hall. Leaner, hair longer, eyes clear as post-rain skies. Therapy's toll, evident in the quiet poise. They collided at the bar. Champagne flutes clinking like fragile truces. Camden, Elias breathed, voice rough. You look commanding. Camden's pulse betrayed him, but words held firm. Elias. Heard you're consulting. Freeing. Yeah. Elias nodded, sipping slow. Unpacked a lot. Closet doors smashed. Out to family, sister cried, but hug me after. Conversation flowed. Cautious, then cascading. Apex's quarterly wins. Elias's pro bono AI ethics work for LGBTQ plus nonprofits. Inspired by you, he admitted. Gaze earnest. That courage. Dance floor called. A slow sway to soulful R&B. Bodies close, but not claiming. Miss this, Elias murmured into hair. Camden pulled back slight. Missed the man who stayed. The night ended with a walk along Embarcadero. Fog rolling off the bay like unresolved code. Elias halted under a street lamp. Haloed. I was wrong to run. Selfish. But I'm here now, fixed. Or closer. Camden searched his face. Scars and strengths. Prove it. No empires. Just us. Back in Seattle. Courtship recommenced. Slow burn. Coffee at Analog. Pour-overs steaming as Elias shared journal entries. Raw admissions of internalized hate. Mock you to mock myself, he confessed. Hands trembling on mug. Kept distance, but pulled you close. Cowardice. Camden forgave in layers. Dates building. Hikes in Discovery Park. Waves lapping as they unpacked betrayals. Cooking classes in Fremont. Pasta dough needed like tensions. Intimacy rebuilt. Tentative. Kisses in Elias's new condo overlooking Lake Union. Houseboats bobbing like buoyant hopes. Bodies relearned rhythms. Slower. Savoring. Love you, Elias whispered post-climax. Foreheads pressed. Camden echoed. Belief blooming. But conflict simmered external. A board faction, led by Victor, chafed at Camden's progressive pivots, diversity quotas in hiring, ethical audits on client data. Stick to profits. Hayes, Victor growled in a closed door, cigar smoke curling like threats. Camden stood firm. Profits without purpose? That's the real glitch. Leaks followed, op-eds questioning his agenda, stock dips blamed on distractions. Elias, from sidelines, coached, document everything. Allies in the ranks, his support grounded. But old fears surfaced. Nights Camden woke sweating. Dreams of abandonment. What if you bolt again? He voiced over breakfast burritos. Elias cupped his face. Then you chase me down. We're equals now. The climax brewed at the annual retreat in the Cascades. Lodges nestled in evergreen cathedrals. Team-building ropes courses. Trust falls echoing vulnerabilities. Victor cornered Camden by the fire pit. Embers glowing. Heard Grant's back in your orbit. Careful, fox in the henhouse. The implications stung. Homophobic undercurrent clear. That evening, during a talent show, Jada's karaoke slaying Whitney, Elias slipped in uninvited. A +1 via Camden's invite. Gasps rippled as he took the mic. Not for song, but speech. Apex isn't just code. It's people. I left to learn that. Camden? He's the future. Brave. Brilliant. Applause thundered. But Victor's glare iced. Betrayal struck midnight. Victor's email blast. Forged docs proving Camden's app siphoned Apex resources. A smear to oust him. Panic surged. Camden's hands shaking as he forwarded to legal. Elias arrived at dawn. Very fresh. Arms enveloping. We'll fight. Together. The crisis peaked in boardroom warfare. Camden presenting counter-evidence. Voice thunder, logs. Timestamps debunking fraud. This is sabotage, not strategy. Victor blustered, but votes swung. Loyalty to Camden's results prevailing. Victor resigned. A quiet coup. Exhaustion followed. Healing in afterglow. Camden and Elias retreated to Whidbey. Cabin's sanctuary. Days of nothing, reading on the deck. Swims in chill waters. Nights of unhurried love. You saved me, Camden murmured. Head on Elias's chest. We saved each other. Back. Apex soared. App integrated as corporate CSR. Stock rebounding. Camden's promotion permanent. Elias joining as advisor. Equals. Partners. One evening, atop the Needle, city sprawling, Elias knelt. Marry me, build forever, ring simple, silver with etched circuits. Camden's yes was seismic. Tears salt-kissed. Life layered on, wedding in a Capitol Hill garden. Jada officiating, Riley toasting from afar. Apex thrived. Human-centered. Queer voices amplified. Years on, Camden reflected in journals. Love as algorithm, flawed. Evolving. Profound. Planning consumed evenings. Venues scouted from rustic barns in Snohomish to urban lofts in Belltown. Each weighed against guest lists blending tech titans and Oregon kin. Camden's mom flew up, her diner calloused hands clasping Elias's in tentative approval. He treats you right? She asked over pie at her hotel. Eyes sharp. Camden nodded, throat tight. Like gold? Mom. Her hug smelled of lavender and home. Sealing blessings. Elias's sister, Mara, arrived from Spokane. her brood of nieces tumbling like puppies. Family dinners at their Lake Union condo, now ours, with merged closets and shared coffee mugs, wove threads. Mara stories of Elias's teen angst. Coding marathons to escape Bible study pressures. He was always fighting invisible wars, she said. Wine glass tilting. Elias squeezed Camden's knee under the table. Anchor. But undercurrents stirred. Victor's faction lingered in shadows. Export whispers fueling tabloid fodder. Tech power couple. Merger or manipulation? Paparazzi lurked outside Apex. Lentz is hungry. Camden fielded calls from reporters. Voice polished. Loves the ultimate disruption. Elias. Battle-hardened. Coached media jiu-jitsu. Turning scrutiny to advocacy. Work balanced precariously. Camden's days a blitz of strategy sessions. Elias consulting on ethics panels. Their overlap sparking innovations. A privacy-first AI toolkit. Open-sourced for queer orgs. Late nights. Code entwined with caresses. Laptops forgotten as bodies scripted new intimacies. You're my constant, Elias breathed one dawn. Fingers tracing Camden's collarbone tattoo, a small compass. Inked post-breakup. The bachelor party was Jada's masterpiece, a houseboat on Union. Drag queens from Neighbors Cabaret belting gaga. Shots of tequila chasing laughter. Riley FaceTime from her orchard, raising a cider. To the gay bee wait. Grooms. Theo led toasts. Voice slurring sweet. Cam, you coded your way to this. Legend. Elias's night mirrored. Quieter, fishing off alky with old college buds. Confessions over campfires about the one who cracked my shell. Wedding dawn broke golden. July heat wave melting Seattle's gray. The garden venue in Capitol Hill bloomed riotous, wildflowers nodding to Oregon roots. Arches draped in fairy lights. Camden dressed in a sunlit room. Mirror reflecting a man remade. Crisp linen suit. Green eyes bright. Stubble trimmed. Jada adjusted his boutonniere. A cascade of lavender. Stunning, she whispered, tears brimming. Your dad would be proud. The mention stung. Absent father a ghost. But Camden breathed through, stepping into light. Processional swelled with acoustic covers of the National. Guests rising, Apex allies. Queer map users clutching invites like talismans. Mara's kids scattering petals. Elias waited at the arbor. Navy suit hugging frame. Eyes locked on Camden like source code. Vows exchanged raw. Camden's, you mocked my light once. Now you reflect it back tenfold. Elias's, choked. I was lost in loops. You debugged my soul. Rings slid on. Matching bands etched with coordinates of their first kiss, sealing promises. Kiss sealed deeper. Cheers erupting. Confetti swirling like data streams. Reception flowed. Feasts of Dungeness crab and heirloom salads. Dances under stars to a DJ spinning from Pet Shop Boys to Phoebe Bridgers. Mom twirled with Elias. Whispering approvals. Riley, in from the farm, pulled Camden aside. Happiest I've seen you, brother. Honeymoon whisked them to the San Juan Islands. Ferry to Friday Harbor, a prelude of hand-holding on decks. Their cottage perched on bluffs. Orcus breaching distant. Nights of stargazing and slow explorations. Days kayaking coves where seals eyed them curious. This is eternity, Camden murmured. Head on Elias's lap. Meteor shower streaking sky. Elias kissed his temple. Our algorithm. Return thrust them into turbulence. Apex's annual audit revealed embezzlement traces. Victor's ghost fingering old accounts. Investigation launched. FBI tangling with forensics teams. Camden's testimony hours in sterile rooms. Voice steady recounting suspicions. Elias stood sentinel. His network unearthing ledgers. "We'll bury him," he vowed. But stress etched lines. Migraines returning. The scandal crested in headlines. Export fraud rocks tech giant. Stocks plummeting. Layoffs looming. Camden addressed staff. Podium trembling slight. "This betrayal tests us." But integrity rebuilds stronger. Morale teetered. But his app's community rallied. Fundraisers on GoFundMe. Virtual vigils. Jada's team innovated cost cuts. Theo's hacks streamlining ops. Personal cracks widened. Arguments flared over Elias's insistence on handling Victor solo. A relic of CEO machismo. "Let me in," Camden snapped one night. Condo echoing. "Partners. Remember?" Elias deflated. "Habit. Protecting you." Therapy resumed. Joint sessions in a Rainier Valley office. Couch confessions unpacking patriarchies. Healing wove through crisis. A weekend in Bend. Camden's roots. Hiking Smith Rock's Crimson Spires. Elias meeting the diner crew. Waitresses who mothered fiercely. "Treat our boy right," one warned. Pie slice in hand. Elias nodded solemn. Or pie to the face. Resolution came swift. Victor indicted. Restitution flowing. Apex rebounding with green initiatives, carbon-neutral servers. Scholarships for rural coders. Camden's keynote at TechCrunch Disrupt went viral. Betrayal forges. Doesn't break. Love and ethics? Unhackable. Anniversary neared. First as husbands. Elias planned surprise. A road trip retracing paths. Oregon trails. Seattle gyms. Whibby waves. Stops at diners for greasy spoons. Motels with neon glows. Nights of reminiscence. From mockery to this, Elias said. Under Montana stars. Big sky vast. Camden laughed. Fingers laced. Best plot twist. Home. They adopted a rescue mutt. Pixel, scruffy. Loyal, patting their condo with paws. Mornings. Coffee and cuddles. Elias spotting Camden's home workouts. Vanderlight. Lift like you love me. Camden grinned. Deeper, every rep. Years layered. Apex Global. Camden authoring code for kindness. Bestseller blending tech and tales. Elias founded a foundation. Mentoring queer entrepreneurs from flyover states. Family grew. Mara's visits. Surrogate talks whispered. One evening. Deck chairs creaking. Pixel snoring. Camden leaned into Elias. We made it. Elias kissed slow. And keep making. Humanity in the code. Love the constant variable. 5 years into marriage. The rhythm of Camden and Elias's life hummed like a well-tuned server farm. Predictable efficiencies laced with serendipitous sparks. Apex had ballooned into a Pacific Northwest powerhouse. Satellite offices sprouting in Portland and Vancouver. BC. Camden's vision embedding equity into every line. AI bias audits mandatory. Hiring pipelines from HBCUs and tribal colleges. His face graced billboards along I-5, innovate inclusively, a far cry from the trainee dodging barbs. Elias's foundation. Grant Bridge. Thrived in parallel. Bridging rural divides with coding boot camps in places like Billings, Montana, where queer kids learn Python amid prairies. He lectured at universities, His TEDx on closeted code, reprogramming shame, racking millions of views. The once mocking CEO, now icon of redemption. Home. Their Lake Union perch evolved. Pixel successor. Bite. A border collie mix. Herded their routines. Herb gardens overflowed on the balcony. Basil sending summer grills. But beneath the polish, microfractures formed, subtle as deprecated functions. Elias's travel spiked. Keynotes pulling him to Austin and Boston. Absences stretching weeks. Camden buried in expansions. Their sync lagging. Text substituted. Miss your laugh. Home soon. Elias's warm but waning. The first real quake hit during a family gathering in Spokane. Mara's backyard barbecue under July sun. Ribs smoking. Kids splashing in sprinklers. Elias's father. Harlan, stoic retiree. Once the belt wielder, approached Camden by the grill. Beer in hand. Heard you two adopted. Good on ya. Takes guts. The olive branch. Grudging. Move Camden. But Elias overheard. Face tightening. Later, in the guest room, he paced. Dad's playing nice? After everything. Camden sat on the bed. Voice gentle. People change. Like us. Elias deflated. Sinking beside. Maybe. But old wounds scar deep. They made love fierce that night. Reclaiming. But dawn brought distance. Elias's eyes distant over coffee. Back in Seattle. Work's Vortex pulled. A partnership with a Chicago fintech. Negotiations dragging through Zoom marathons. Jada, now EVP, vented over lunches at Serious Pie. These suits want our tech without the soul. Fight it. Cam, he did. Clauses etched for data sovereignty. But exhaustion mounted. Sleep fractured by Elias's snores turned to solo sighs. Crisis ignited on a crisp October eve. Autumn leaves carpeting Gasworks Park. Camden proposed a picnic. Wine. Charcuterie. Bite chasing frisbees to reconnect. Elias arrived late. Tie loosened. Apology rushed. Client ran over. Conversation stuttered. Work anecdotes. Then silence is thick as fog off the lake. You seem. Elsewhere, Camden ventured. Unpacking cheese. Elias poked at a grape. Avoiding eyes. Just tired. Foundations scaling fast. The dam broke over dessert. Elias admitting burnout. I need space. A sabbatical. Solo hike in the Olympics. Camden's four clattered. Space. We're husbands. Elias reached. Hand hovering. Not leaving you. Just. Me. The old patterns, running when cornered. Echoes of the past. The cabin exit. Betrayal's ghost. Argument ensued. Voices low but lacerating. Camden accusing withdrawal. Elias defending growth. You built this life on my terms once. Let me breathe. Camden's retort stung. Breathe or bolt? Elias left for the trail, next dawn. Pack slung. Kiss goodbye lingering like farewell. Solitude swallowed Camden. Condo echoing with Bites wines. He threw into work. Merger closing triumphant. But joy absented. Jada noticed. Coffee run turning confessional. He's processing trauma. Doesn't mean erasing you. Riley called. Voice farm fresh, given the trail. You got your own paths. Camden traced his, volunteering at queer map hubs, mentoring a trans teen from Tacoma. Her code, elegant. Fears mirrored. How do you lead without losing yourself? She asked. Camden hugged virtual. By remembering the lead comes from love. Elias's absence stretched 6 weeks. Postcards from trailheads, Hurricane Ridge vistas, Clearing Head. Heart's yours, Camden replied letters. Poured ink, memories of firsts. Vulnerabilities bared. Come back whole. I'll be here. Return was quiet. Elias at the door. Beard scruffy. Eyes clear. I ran to face it. The fear of losing you. To success. To shame. They talked till dawn. Couch confessions. Tears salting embraces. Intimacy rebuilt. Slower. Sacred. Touches mapping scars. Whispers vowing presence. But the quake's aftershocks lingered. Therapy intensified. Couple sessions unpacking enmeshment. We merged too fast, the counselor noted. Neutral space in Capitol Hill. Rediscover individuals. Challenges issued. Solo trips. Hobby dives. Camden enrolled in pottery classes at a Fremont studio. Hands in clay birthing vessels. Literal. Metaphorical. Elias took up woodworking. Garage bench, sawing planks into shelves. Callus's companions. Date nights enforced. No work talk. Explorations. Ferry to Polsbo for Nordic sweets. Kayaks on Lake Washington at twilight. Deeper conflict brewed professional. Apex eyed expansion to Texas. Austin's tech boom tempting. Camden championed. Diversity clauses ironclad, Elias cautioned. Red state risks, backlash for us. For the team. Debates heated. Kitchen tables battlegrounds. Progress demands push, Camden argued. Elias countered. Protection first. The board voted yes. Relocation scouts dispatched. Camden led the charge. But whispers from Texas partners subtle. Family values slips chilled. A site visit to Austin. Heat wave haze. Barbecue lunches laced with side eyes. Hotel night. Camden called Elias. Voice small. Feels hostile. Elias's reply soothed. Pull back if needed. You're the visionary. Decision pivoted. Hybrid model. Remote hubs. Texas sidelined. Victory bittersweet. Lesson in boundaries. Personal growth flowered. Camden's novel. Loops of light. Published. Fiction weaving their arc. Queer tech romance. Launch at Elliott Bay Books packed. Elias beaming front row. Readings raw. Questions probing. How'd you forgive? Camden glanced at husband. By choosing daily. Anniversaries marked milestones. 7th with a vow renewal in Bend. Mom's diner backdrop. Friends toasting. 8th. Surrogacy talks deepened. Profiles reviewed. Hopes hatching. Crisis redux. Elias's health scare. Routine check flagging arrhythmia. Echoes of burnout stress. ER vigil. Camden's hand in his. Monitors beeping prayers. Not leaving, Elias rasped. Post-diagnosis. Lifestyle shifts, yoga mornings. Trail runs tandem. Healing deepened empathy. Elias mentoring a young exec. Closeted. His guidance gentle. Own your code. Echoing Camden's early fire. One spring. Bite puppied. Litters of fur balls. Rehome to allies. Chaos joy. Teaching nurture. Camden journaled. Love's not static. It recompiles. Endless. Elias added. Pen shared. With you. Infinite loops worth running. A decade etched their union. Silver threads in hair. Laugh lines mapping joys. Apex spanned continents. Camden's Ethos Global, AI for climate refugees. Partnerships with indigenous coders in Alaska. Elias's foundation spanned bridges literal and figurative. Scholarships funding queer coders from Appalachia to the Aleutians. His memoir, Uncompiled, A CEO's Reckoning, a bestseller. Forward by Camden, he debugged us both. Their family bloomed. Surrogacy yielded twins. Arya and Jordan, wild curls. Green eyes like Camden's. Obsidian glints from Elias. Condo traded for a queen and craftsman. Backyard swing set creaking lullabies. Bite successors, dash and dot, herding toddlers. Morning's chaos, pancakes flipped. Sippy cups clinking. Elias Ty Askew. Camden laptop toting to daycare drop-offs. Parenthood's forge tempered, sleepless nights with fevers. First steps wobbling into arms. Area's precocious questions, why two dads? Met with storybooks of families diverse. Elias's voice soft, love builds homes. Kiddo, Jordan's scraped knees mended with band-aids and ballads. Camden's lullabies, coding dreams. Conflicts evolved domestic. Elias's overprotectiveness clashing Camden's, let them fall philosophy. Debates over screen time turning dinner tables tense. They're resilient, Camden insisted. Post-playground tumble. Elias sighed. Like their pop? Scarred but stronger. Compromises carved. Family therapy light. Games nights diffusing. Professional tempests persisted. A data breach at Apex. Hackers from Eastern Shadows. Headlines howling queer-led firm falls. Camden's crisis mode activated. Pressers calm. Fixes swift. Elias's foundation offering free cyber shields to nonprofits. Fallout bonded them. Late night strategizing. Twins asleep upstairs. Aging's whisper intruded. Elias's knee. Triathlon relic. Balked hikes. Camden's eyes strained over specs. Glasses perched ironic. Wellness retreats to hot springs in Oregon. Soaks easing joints. Talks delving legacies. What mark? Elias pondered. Steam curling. Camden, hearts coated kind. Grand gestures punctuated. 20th anniversary. Vow renewal on Whidbey. Cabin there's now. Sunset officiant Jada, gray-streaked. Glowing. Guests, Riley's farm clan. Mara's grown brood. Queer map alums. Vows updated, through breaches and builds. I choose you. Rings renewed. Engraved reboot together. Legacy projects converged. A joint venture. Apex Bridge Academy. Free tech camps in rural outposts. From Vermont dairies to Texas panhandles. Camden taught algorithms. Elias ethics. Kids. Diverse sparks. Ignited. One camper. A shy boy from Montana. Like you once, Elias noted, thanked. You made space for me. Betrayal's echo faded. But a final test. Elias's diagnosis. Early Parkinson's. Tremor in hand scripting memos. Shockwaves, MRIs cold. Specialist jargon blurring. How long? Camden asked. Voice steel veil glass. Manageable. Years good, Elias joked. More time for bad golf. Grief's arc bent them. Support groups in Seattle's underbelly. Queer elders sharing tremored wisdom. Elias adapted. Voice to text for lectures. Adaptive tools for woodworking. Camden anchored. Reading aloud at nights. Fingers massaging knotted hands. Crisis crested in a family hike. Olympics trails mud slick. Elias's step faltering on roots. Fall minor. But panic surged. Camden's cry raw. Twins wide-eyed. Campfire that eve. Stories swapped. Elias's vulnerability. Bodies glitching, but soul solid. Arya hugged, fierce. We fix you. Papa. Healing in small hands. Publicly. Elias channeled. Foundation expanded neurodiversity programs. Talks on tremors of truth, frailty as strength. Camden co-authored papers. AI aids for mobility. Prototypes tested in home labs. Twins milestones mirrored mending. Areas coding fair win. App for park accessibility. Jordan school play. Non-binary led. Elias directing from wings. Pride parades. Family floats rainbowed. Cheers cathartic. Elder years softened edges. Retirement phased. Camden consulting. Elias volunteering. Travel slowed. Road trips to national parks. RV rumbling. Audiobooks spinning tales. One Yellowstone dusk. Geysers steaming. Elias gripped Camden's hand. Best run. Winter's grip tightened. Elias's mobility waning. Wheelchair days in the Craftsman. Ramps installed with love. Caregiving's weight bowed Camden. Jada's visits relief. Your saints. But resentment flickered. Why him? Therapy unpacked. Riley's calls grounding. Honor the code you wrote. Final chapter wrote gentle. Hospice at home. Twins teens now. Orbiting with quiet awe. Last days. Bed by window. Lake views balm. Elias. Voice faint. To Camden. Mocked you once. Best mistake. Led here. Laughter bubbled. Tears tracing. Passing came peaceful. Dawn light gilding. Family woven. Funeral lakeside. Toast to legacies. He left the company and his heart to love. Camden grieved seismic. Walks with dash solitary. Journal floods. But seeds sprouted. Area's scholarship. Jordan's activism. Queer map global. Apex ethical beacon. 1 year on. Memorial hike. Olympics again. Elias's ashes scattered on winds. Camden stood. Twins flanking. Bites ghost in memory. He healed us, he said. Voice carrying. We heal on.